and our 2 defensive ends. Now, you ask about personnel, who should be playing where. Our nose was a sophomore, or excuse me, our nose was a senior, big, strong. He was a space eater. He got double and triple teamed. He wasn't going up the field, but we just needed him to not get moved. And he's just trying to hold his ground and hold his water, keep those guys. He managed to keep the center and a guard at least off the linebackers as best he could. He's about 300 pounds. He's a big old hoss. I don't always have him, and if I don't, I put a kid who can slant and shoot and be difficult to find. Our left end, or not our left end, our weak side defensive end was a 152-pound weight room kid, quick as a cat, but, not good in space. He was just that kid. He was aggressive. Our strong end was a sophomore that was about 225. Strong for a sophomore. Probably should have been tearing it up on JV, but that was the situation we were in. So they're going to be in 4-0-4, and they're going to be slanting and moving. Our nose, only because I had that big hoss, he didn't slant all the time, but we subbed him a lot because he did get tired, and he did get injured actually. But when we subbed for him, that kid would slant and move and be difficult to find. Our Sam linebacker, our strong. Let's go back to the Jack and the Mike. The Jack and the Mike are your typical traditional linebackers. It looks like the guards are going to be real easy to release to him, but again, you put your best kid at that nose, and you make somebody come and block him. Okay, our guards playing 30s outside shade of our backers playing 30s outside shade of the guards, the inside backers, solid kids, linebacker kids, just your typical linebacker, tackle to tackle guys, and anything else they do is bonus. They are run first guys. We got 5 guys, really 6 guys that are live and run. They're not worried about anything else. Our Sam backer, I drew him kind of loose here, but depending on who he is, if he's a defensive lineman kid, when we've got a tight end, he'll be lined up head up on that kid, and he's a C-gap player a lot of the time. So he'll line up head up and attack to the inside, control that inside half of the gap, or even rip through, depending on who it is. But I would let him kind of move around and be hard to find at times as well. He's, again, a sophomore. They're all freaking sophomores. Athletic linebacker hybrid kid. He was the first kid that got fired or the last kid that got fired from linebacker, if that makes sense. So he was like the 3rd linebacker. Now he becomes the 3rd inside linebacker. Now he becomes a Sam backer. You may have an extra D lineman. If I've got a kid that's more of a D lineman but can move a little bit, I'd probably put him there too. Our will linebacker on the outside is a more athletic of the 2 OLBs. He's a more of a hybrid linebacker safety type of kid, not as much D-line stuff. Okay. Our 2 safeties, we played more cover 1 and cover 3, so we would be rocking down the strong more and the free being deeper. But these are athletic kids. Your best football players. They can run, they can tackle, those kind of things. Your corners are the guys, if you're going to play cover 3, they're going to stay deep. If you're going to play man, we like to play a lot of press man. You don't have to be the most talented team in the world to play press man. It's a myth. Once you stop listening to myths, you can become a better football coach. I didn't learn that until a few years ago. But that's kind of who we're working with here. Base alignment for the Sam, again, he's going to move around quite a bit. He's going to be more defensive lineman. He's not always defensive lineman. He's going to be more defensive lineman than offensive lineman. He's going to be more defensive lineman than linebacker. Whereas the will is going to be more linebacker than D lineman. But they're kind of hybrid type of kids. And really the strong safety can be too. With the will backer if the will or the Sam is not in the pass rush or not going, then he's anywhere from 3x3 to looser to 3x5, depending on what his role is. And if he's coming, then he could be up on the line. So that's what we're looking at with the alignment. It's a pretty basic alignment with our base front, which we call stud. Okay, with our base front. And again, this is a quarters type of look. I love quarters out of this 7-man front, but again, we developed from the 4-2-5, and so we ran more cover 3, cover 1 last season. Going forward, if we're going to run more 3-4, we're going to probably look more quarters going forward. The thing about it is it's simple to adjust to any opponent. What we've got here, these front 5 never change. We do change up front, but on our base, those guys are lined up right there all the time. They know where to line up, 4-0-4 across the board. Jack and the Mike don't change so they can get good reads. Our Sam, he's got a tight end most of the time. Our Sam's going to be coming. We'll talk about that base call, that home for us as we go. So we want to be able to adjust to any opponent. The thing I love about this defense and do love about this defense is that it is easy to adjust. Okay, it is easy to adjust to any opponent that we see. Whether we're going to see a wing tee, whether we're going to see a spread, anything. Guys always ask, how do you adjust to empty? Empty is a whole nother deal. It's not. Empty is just whatever your check is that week. We've got a whole video on defending empty formations. It's like a 45-minute video on defending empty formations in JDFB Insider, and it's just based on what we are doing that week and what they want to do out of it. Okay, so looking here, here we're in a roll down cover 3, and again, coverage focused mainly on the front here. Coverage is going to depend on what you do. We can do this against the slot formation. We could be in quarters and have him roll back. But when we go to this slot formation where we still got 2 backs in the backfield, our Sam can loosen up. We could loosen him up if we want to. But again, in our base, he's probably coming 70% of the time, so he's not going to go but so loose, especially if we've got the Sam backer walk down. But you can see that these front guys, okay, these front guys are still in 4-0-4. Our linebackers are in their 30s. All right, nothing big changes. Nothing big changes. Will backer, 3x3, he can loosen up to 3x5 depending on what they're doing. If they're going to try to get outside on us a lot, if they're going to try to run some speed option or something and I need him outside, then I can loosen him up there. We'll be fine with that too. Okay, we talk about umbrella principle, and this is the basis of who we are, is the umbrella principle. Okay, and if you haven't heard me talk about the umbrella principle, this is something I got from TCU. Again, studying the 425 initially, but it applies to any defense, and you need to take this principle and apply it to your defense and make sure that it fits. What we're talking about with the umbrella principle is, and I'll back up to this base alignment here against a pro set. Okay, what we're talking about with the umbrella principle is the umbrella, we will have guys that are force players and guys that are alley players and guys that are spill players. Your front 5 never change. Always spill guys. And then let's say that we're going to run our base, which is we're going to roll to it. Okay, but we're going to be in a cover 3. Everybody who's a spill player will go under the umbrella. Remember, we're getting that Sam down in C gap. Okay, so let's say we're running what we run is aim. Okay, base call. Everybody under this umbrella is a spill player. Spill player means I'm going to handle the inside half of my gap. I didn't do a good job of drawing my nose up. Okay, I'm going to handle the inside half of my gap. Sam's got a little tougher job, which is we get into that in the E-course. All right, and I'm going to force the ball to play to the outside. I'm going to force that ball to bounce to the outside. So if I were to get some kind of counter play, all right, I'm going to attack the inside half of my gap, get that in there, and make it bounce to the outside. That's their job. I can move them wherever they want. As long as they know they're under the umbrella, they're a spill guy, they know what to do. They can be anywhere. They can line up anywhere. It doesn't matter. We can line them with popcorn, bounce around. It's fine, okay? In the cover 3, my will backer is the force. My Sam backer is the force, or my strong safety is the force, okay? The force players are going to turn the ball back to the inside or make it bubble. What we tell them is force a change of direction. That guy is either going to put a foot in the ground. These guys have forced that running back to spill to the outside. He's either going to put a foot in the ground and turn back to the inside where all my spill players are waiting for him. Okay, all my spill players are waiting for him. Or he's got to bounce or bubble to the outside. But I'm going to force him. He's not just going to get a clean run and turn upfield. I'm going to force a change of direction. This works so much better than contain. Okay. Your free safety in this situation is the alley guy. The alley guy, this is the best way you can explain alley. Okay. Alley is the guy that's between the last spill player and the force player. He is the tip of the umbrella. He's going to face up the ball carrier. Okay. And then we've got our corners as stay in coverage guys. Now, you can force within our 3-4 defense E-course. We teach how to force with the backers, the safeties, or the corners. Okay. Whatever. We just make a quick call for it. Let them know who's going to be doing it. Okay? No matter what we line up against, it applies here, okay? Here we are in our cover 3, okay? Spill, force, alley, whichever way the play goes. Stay in coverage. Don't make us look stupid against some team that runs the ball 80% of the time. Stay in coverage, be ready for toss, pass, anything. They don't come up until the ball crosses line of scrimmage, and it's going to be late. The only thing that brings them up early is a crack replace. We're going to do a 2 tight end formation, okay? Lots of things that we can do. And again, it'll depend on what we're doing, who's going where. But in our base, we're slanting those guys. We sometimes hammer that guy, sometimes bring him in. It just depends. Okay, linebackers got it here. Okay, linebackers got it there. Here's our umbrella. Force, force, alley. Okay, so we can adapt to no tight ends, 2 tight ends. We've done 2-back formations so far. Okay. Your adjustments past that, they really are going to be impacted as far as where you're going to adjust your corners, where you're going to adjust your safety. All that stuff is all going to be dependent on coverage. So I can't sit here and tell you this is where the safety's going to line up, this is where the will's going to line up, because we may be bringing the will. You know, if we decide to bring the will, we decide to come here, we might bring the will. Okay, I could bring the will off the edge in this situation. I could bring him the other way. I could bring him in C gap or D gap, depending on what we want to do, what type of kid that is. If we do bring him there, now our linebackers are 2 gap because there's 3 gaps and 2 linebackers. All in how you do it, but that matters on how we teach our linebackers. Your coverage choices again are going to impact your adjustments. We run some press. If we run a quarters against a spread doubles type of formation here, this is a quarters, our old alert check.